All right, so we're working through our weighted average cost of capital. We've got our cost of equity, we've got our cost of debt, we've got our corporate tax rate, and now we need to figure out, the percentage of our funds that come from owners versus that come from lenders, because that lets us know the relative importance of earning 11.39% and the relative importance of earning 4.664%. I have the screen zoomed out quite a bit so that you can see the whole picture, right? I started with my cost of equity, then I calculated the cost of debt, then the corporate tax rate, and now I'm going to calculate the weights of debt and equity. Up here I have it as two separate pieces, the weight of equity and the weight of debt. And the reason for that is that when you're doing weighted average cost of capital, you always need 5 things: the cost of equity, the cost of debt, the tax rate, the weight of equity, and the weight of debt. You always have to get those 5 things. So when you're looking at weighted average cost of capital, think 5 items and know what they are. But when we're getting them, when we're actually calculating them, the weight of debt versus the weight of equity, it's really easy to just do it in one fell swoop. So I'm going to do as I did before, and I'm going to hide these rows. And I'll zoom in a little bit more so we can see. All right. So I need the weights of debt and equity. In order to get that, I need to know the market value of equity. And this is what the book means by E, when it gives you the letter E. And the place that we get this is on Yahoo Finance. And we get the weight of E by getting 2 pieces of information: the price of the share right now, P sub 0, and the number of shares outstanding. Then we're going to need the value of debt. It would be great if we could have the market value of debt, but we don't really get that, so we're going to use the balance sheet value of debt, right? Or the book value of debt, and we're going to call that D. So, and this we get from part 2. Right, or part 1, number 2, right here. You get it from the cost of equity. So it's really from Mergent, but you have it above. All right, so let's start with the market value of equity. The market value of equity, to find that, we go to Yahoo Finance. And what it basically is if you were going to buy all the shares of Hershey's, what would it cost you, right? It's essentially the investing public's collective wisdom about the value of this firm. There are a certain number of shares that exist, and investors bid the price up or let the price fall so that it reflects, hopefully, the true value of the company, right? So this will let us know the value of the equity. So there's 2 pieces of information that we need to know. The share price, which there it is, 107.71, down a little bit from the 108.94 that I got this morning. Don't panic. The price changes every second. Pick one and go with it. It doesn't even matter. It would be better if you actually use the same price all the way through. And then you go here, not to historical prices, but instead to key statistics. And key statistics is where there is a lot of information about the company. And of the many things that it will tell you about the company, if my slow internet connection will catch up with us, is the number of shares that the company has outstanding. Come on. I live way out in the country. At least right now I do. Try it again. There we go. Maybe not. Slow internet. Aha, key statistics. What we're going to do is we're going to scroll down to share statistics, and what we want is the number of shares outstanding. 220.87 million. What are we going to do with these 2 numbers? We are going to look at the share price right now. I'm just going to call it 107.71. And then my number of shares outstanding. You have to be careful here because 220.87 million. You need to make sure to adjust your units. 220.87 million really is 870,000 shares outstanding. Well, take a look at your income statements, right? You can look at standardized or as reported. But if you go to this part here where it says scale, what scale are we in? All these numbers are in thousands, right? So this sales revenue, $707,146,079, that's in thousands. So what that actually means is 7,146,079,000 and 3 more zeros. So because all these numbers are in thousands, we need to make sure that our units are the same, right? If you want to add feet and inches, you've got to change everything into inches or everything into feet. Same thing goes with money, right? So this is just 220.87 million. That's the number in millions. And then to get to thousands, you take off the last 2 zeros, right? This is in thousands. And this is what we want, right? Because everything else is in thousands. So then the market value of equity, E, is equal to the number of shares outstanding multiplied by the share price. And we need to have it in the same units that everything else is expressed in the balance sheet. Otherwise, we can't compare the debt numbers with the equity numbers. So that is our market value of equity. And I'm going to put that here. So our balance sheet value of debt, or our book value of debt, we calculated it already. We calculated it up here when we were calculating the cost of debt, the interest rate that we pay on our loans, right? Here's our total debt. Well, that's the amount of debt we have. Boom. Right? That was easy. Hallelujah. Something's easy in finance, right? Actually, lots of things are easy. You just sometimes need to pace yourself. So then the amount of money that funders have provided, right, that owners and lenders have provided is D plus E, or E plus D, depending how you want to put it, but it's both of these added together, right? The amount of external funds that have been provided to the company, 25,751,925, although we know that's actually in billions. So then we can calculate the 2 pieces of information that we need. I'm going to delete these 2 rows because that's just my work. And I want, never mind. I'll delete this row because now I want to get the weight of debt and the weight of equity. So what percentage of these external funds is supplied by debt holders? That's the weight of debt. What percent of the external funds is supplied by equity holders? That's the weight of equity. So the weight of debt is equal to D divided by D plus E. And the weight of equity is equal to E divided by D plus E. Both of these 2 numbers are percentages. And that's what we're going to call it. So those are the weights of debt and equity. Save your file, save it early, save it often. Now, what I like to do to calculate weighted average cost of capital, I like to come up to the top and add 6 or 7 rows. And I like it if they're not yellow. But I do like it if they have their grid lines still showing. And then I like to bring all my inputs. And we're going to pull it all together for whack. So I'm going to bring, we need all 5 of these things. Cost of equity, RE, cost of debt, RD, corporate tax rate, TC, weight of equity, WE, weight of debt, WD. We put that all together and we can get our weighted average cost of capital. So I'm going to collect my components. my cost of equity, my cost of debt, my corporate tax rate, my weight of equity, and my weight of debt. Now I can use that to calculate the weighted average cost of capital. One thing I want to do really quickly is I want to use the more current value, the more current share price, so that at least this page has all the same share price. It changes the cost of equity just a teeny tiny bit. That's okay. So our weighted average cost of capital is the cost of equity times the weight of equity plus the cost of debt times the weight of debt multiplied by 1 minus the tax rate. $10.78. Got it. Always give yourself a check. It should be somewhere between the cost of equity and the cost of debt, and it will be closer to whichever one has a higher percentage representation in your capital structure. That's the whack. We did it. Hope you're feeling satisfied and very accomplished in both your Excel skills and your finance skills. And if you have the feeling like, okay, I did the numbers, but I have no idea what I really just did, I would take a look at an Investopedia video or read the section in the textbook and see if that helps make it more clear. Good luck. Let me know if you have any questions. And okay, yeah, get this part of the project done and enjoy your weekend. All right.